So it is actually now the 1st of May, 8 in the morning, and in 1.5 hours I've got online classes from uni, so I need to hurry up a little bit. Hello friends, and welcome to my April wrap up. I have read a total of 6 books this month, and 5 of them were for my O.W.L.s, because I'm participating in a magical readathon. I'm becoming a librarian in the wizarding world, and that means I have to take my O.W.L.s and my newts in August. So I've chosen 5 books, I've completed them, so yay! And the 6th book is a book that I read in the 24-hour readathon that me and Tabby did. So we just came up with it, we wanted to do it, we never done it before. We vlogged our experience, so that video will be up on Tuesday, by the way. And we tried to finish 2 books by Erin, Morgenstern, The Night Circus and The Starless Sea. So much fun, but really exhausting. And I did finish The Night Circus. I didn't finish The Starless Sea, so that will be in my May wrap up. I also started an audiobook this month, Outlander book 1, because I absolutely love and adore the TV series, and I really wanted to see if the books were as good as the TV series. In my opinion, so far they are. I have like 10 hours left of Outlander, so I will be finishing that in May as well. But as I said, I did finish 6 books in April, so I have enough to share with you guys. And if you like these kind of videos, then don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit that bell so you never miss another video. F me again. Now let's start. The first book I read in April is Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. I know, I'm late to the party. I actually never read something by Leigh Bardugo. Of course, I read the first book, Shadow and Bone, in the Grishaverse trilogy, and this is the second one. I have to say, in the first book, I wasn't as invested as I am now, because now I'm super invested and I just want to start reading the third and last book in the trilogy, which is Ruin and Rising. I absolutely love Alina, her character. I love the Darkling. I love the story, the magic that the Grishaverse has. I don't like Mal one bit. He's such an annoying guy and he has the emotional age of a toddler. I do, however, am also invested in Mal and do want to see what happens to him, but I just think he's overreacting in a lot of situations. However, he did save Alina and he was the one that stood by her side in the end, so I'll forgive him for the emotional age. I ended up giving this book 5 stars because I am just super invested and it actually made me cry. There's this scene where one of the best friends of Alina is being revealed and she is not recognizable anymore because she got disfigured by the Darkling, and that made me feel so sad. I was just sobbing because of that scene, and I think when a story is capable of doing that, it deserves 5 stars. And this book was for Defense Against the Dark Arts. It's so annoying. I'm on a schedule here, guys. I have my online classes in like an hour. Oh my gosh, I actually do have my online classes in 1 hour. The next book I read is Frostheart by Jamie Littler, and just look at this book. It is so darn cute. So as you can see, this is a middle grade. It is a fantasy book, and actually my first middle grade that I ever tried. It is about Ash, who is a boy that possesses magical powers, and he is guarded by his yeti called Tobu. He goes on this changing journey, and along the way he meets all these wonderful whimsical characters, and he has to find his place in the world. There's also this very cool and adventurous girl called Luna, and I absolutely loved her character. She's such a badass. It is a very fun story and the illustrations really add to the story. However, I did miss certain things like character development or just mature conversation between adults that I do have when I'm reading young adult or adult books. So I ended up giving this a 3.5 star, and I don't think I'm into middle grades from now on. I think this is gonna be my first and last middle grade, and I will not be reading the second book in this series. And with this book I completed Ancient Runes. Next up is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So I'm actually rereading the entire Harry Potter book series at the moment because I only read them in my own language, which is Dutch. I never read them in English. I'm absolutely loving it, and it fitted one of the prompts, and that was history of magic. I made an entire video about rereading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire because it is just that good. I made my own spell quiz, I made discussion questions for you guys, I tell you the different background stories. I put a lot of effort into that video, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I will leave it in the info cards. As I said, I made an entire video about this book, so I'm gonna be brief, but this is for me the first book that is really evolving. The story is getting more mature, it's getting more dark. The ending is like a puzzle where everything comes together. I love all the new characters that we are getting introduced to, the amount of background stories, so definitely a 5-star read for me. And then I read A Court of Thorns and Roses. I have never read something of Sarah J. Maas. This is my first introduction to her writing style, and can I just say, whew, I mean, girl. Basically, this book is about fairy versus humans. They are separated by this invisible wall, and the main character is called Feyre, who is a human huntress, and an accident happens and she is taken away to the fairy realm. She has to live with this Fey Lord called Tamlin. So there's a romance, there's kind of a love triangle, there's a big plot twist, there are evil beings, an epic journey. It is just a very good fantasy book, and one that made me think back a lot in this last week, and I just can't wait to read the next book in the series. The first half of this book raised some questions, and I thought this was going to be another illogical fantasy read, but trust me, just go with the flow and all your questions will be answered. I absolutely adore this book. It is just a very good fantasy read. I can't wait to see what happens next, and I will definitely finish this trilogy as soon as possible. And with this book I finished Transfiguration. Next up is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This story takes place at Allingham Academy, which is a very old campus where all these extraordinary kids go to with special skills, like not superpowers but just very smart kids who can do all kinds of things like inventing stuff or just being very good at acting, quirky kids. It's just a really fun environment. There was a murder on this campus, so that's a cold case by now, and then Stevie Bell comes along, which is one of the students, and her goal is to solve this cold case, and then another murder happens on campus. Sounds promising, right? Well, it wasn't. I really didn't like the book. It was okay. I gave it 2 stars. I just couldn't get into it. I mean, I didn't feel any connection with the characters at all. There was just no logic in the story. You get absolutely no answers whatsoever. Nothing gets solved. There isn't even a cliffhanger. The book just ends, and it kind of coerces you into reading the second one, which I am not going to do because I am not interested in what happens next. But let's end this on a positive note. So although the writing style was a bit cringy and immature, I did like it sometimes. It made me chuckle, and I think she did create some really fun and quirky characters. And I read this book for arithmancy. And then the last book that I finished in April is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. And as I said, this was part of my 24-hour readathon, which I did with Tabby from Gryffindor Bookworm. This was a tough book to get through. It is a very whimsical and philosophical writing style. It needs your attention. Like, you need to focus to read this book, and that was probably not the best choice for a 24-hour readathon. However, I did really like the fact that I read it in one go, because that made me see all the connections and really immerse myself in the story. And I think that's what this book is meant to do, take you along on a journey at the Night Circus. And this is something I also mentioned in my reading vlog, but I absolutely want to be in the brain of Erin Morgenstern for a day, because I don't know how she comes up with this, but this is unlike anything I've ever read. This is just so intricate, so many layers, so many POVs. I don't know how she does it, and it's just a very beautiful world that she created, and with such imagination. Another thing that I really liked about this book is the layout. So it is divided in different parts. There's short stories in between where it's like a tour guide guides you through the Night Circus. There are different timelines, different places, so it's a very intricate book. And as I said, I'm still processing my thoughts, so I still don't know if I'm gonna give it a 4 or 5 star rating, but for now let's stick with a 4 star, and if I change my mind I will update it on my Goodreads. And those were the 6 books that I read in April. It has been a good reading month. If you have read any of these books, then please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let's stay in touch.